welcome to the Peaceful Woodturner. I've seen a number of videos and descriptions of people cutting a sphere, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it, but I wanted to give it a try. So I've got this piece of oak right here. It's pretty close to square. I'm going to mark my centers. Like I said, it's close to square. So my center's somewhere in the middle of that little rectangle. Alright, I'm going to get it mounted up. I've worked with this oak before, and I have to work really hard to make sure I get my spur drive mounted nice and deep and hard, otherwise it doesn't get a good hold. So I'm going to get this on the lathe, and I'm going to start by figuring out where my sphere is going to be and turning it down to round. Okay, I've got it on the lathe, and I'm going to be going at about 900 RPM. I'm going to start off with my spindle gouge and start rounding down right in this area here. And once I get it down to round, I'm going to measure it a little bit more closely and try to set up so that I can make the same diameter all around, hence a sphere. Let's see what happens. Excellent. I'm going to get my calipers, I'll measure, and I'll try to figure out how to do this. Got my calipers, and I measure it, and we're looking at the narrow point being 1 and 24/64 inches. I still work with the inches and all that kind of stuff. I really should switch over to doing metric, but I haven't gotten myself to that point. But if I go half of that, so that's 1 and 24/64, half of that is going to be 44/64. So I've got my compass set for 44/64. And I'm going to just make a mark so that I can figure out where my sphere is going to be. So somewhere in there, hopefully I'm going to end up with a ball. I'm going to start by using my parting tool on the outside here, just to take this down a little bit so that I can have my space to work and I have things marked off. And once I do that, I'm going to start trying to shape this. So I got a little nervous. I went and watched a couple more videos just to make sure that I was staying on the right track. And one of the things that I decided to do, just to keep myself stable, because I don't have the eye that a lot of people have, is I made myself a little template. So it's exactly the size and diameter right now. So as I work down, I'm going to make sure that I'm sticking with that same thing. And other than that, there are some mathematical things I could do. I could sit here and mark off little less than half of the diameter and work myself down, make kind of an octagon, and keep making more sides until I end up making it totally smooth. I don't have the math brain for that, and I think I can do this. So let's see what happens. Okay, I've got that pretty close to a sphere. What I'm going to do now is cut this off, and I'm going to turn it 90 degrees, remount it, and I should be able to finish rounding it off. I am surprised that this is actually coming out pretty close to round. I think this is pretty much just beginner's luck. Alright, I made myself a couple of holders so that this will stay straight. I should have made them obviously a little bit smaller, or I should have cut this off a little bit better, but I failed to do that. So I'm going to try to just take this down without causing myself too much trouble. I just need to take these parts down to round. Pretty much where I'm at. So I'm going to start by just kind of roughing it down. I'm going to use my bowl gouge. I think this will be the right tool for this. If I don't feel like it's right, I'll switch off to the spindle. So, as you can see, I made a couple modifications here. Obviously, things were just a little too close in size. But I'm coming along pretty nicely. I thought I was going to have a worse shape when I took it out than I do, so I'm happy, and I'm going to keep going. So that's lining up really well on my template. It looks to me like it's still more out of round than I think it actually is. I think that's partly my tool marks and partly just the fact that I have a smoother finish on some parts than others. So I'm going to start sanding it now. I'm going to go with a 220 grit and I'm going at 500 RPM. And there we have an oak ball. It's pretty close to round. I can feel some high spots. I'm not sure if they're coming through on the camera, but it's pretty good. I guess kind of technically an oblate spheroid. I like it. I'm going to have to do a few more. Thank you for joining me on the Peaceful Woodturner.